Welcome to Real Life, Real Talks, where real men have real conversations about life, leadership, and legacy. This podcast is about growth, as men, as fathers, as leaders. We bring on guests from all walks of life, entrepreneurs, veterans, fathers, and everyday men who have faced challenges, learned valuable lessons, and come out stronger. This is real, unfiltered, and unapologetically authentic. No scripts, no masks, just honest conversations about what it takes to be a man in today's world. Because in the end, iron sharpens iron. So if you're ready for real guidance from real men who have walked the path, you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button and let's get into it. This is Real Life, Real Talks. All right. Welcome to A Missing Panda. We got another Real Life, Real Talks, and today we're going to be on having our wonderful guest, Timothy Kelly. He's been on the episode before. He did episode 1 with us, so you can check that out. But a brief overview, he's the owner of Active Duty Passive Income, doing great things with them. And he's also one of my old shipmates. We were in boot camp together. We had such a wonderful journey, and he's doing immaculate things out in the world today. And so I love having him on here talking with us. And today we're going to go over a couple of things, the pillars of strength: conflict, consistency, and just building character. So stay tuned. Hey, welcome to the show, Kelly.
What's up, bro? Thanks again for having me on. It's an honor. I love what you're doing. Yeah, man, let's dive right in. I know we have a lot to cover.
All right, cool, man. So first thing we can go over is handling conflict gracefully. I know a lot of times as men, we kind of are told, just power through it. But what do you think? What's your thoughts on this, man?
Dude, I mean, this is something we don't get taught on how to do. We don't get taught how to communicate, how to handle conflict. This is something I navigate on a daily basis, because if you are in meaningful relationships, you're going to have conflict. If you are in meaningful business ventures, you're going to have conflict. If you're trying to do big things, you're going to have conflict. Conflict is just like unmet expectations among the parties that add emotion.
Mhm.
Um, and it's not bad. It's just like a signal for growth. And most men were never shown how to communicate emotions without some kind of aggression or some kind of avoidance. And I would love to kind of do a deep dive into what we call um, attachment styles. We each have some kind of attachment style, whether it's dismissive avoidant, fearful avoidant, or secure attachment style. That's how we're brought up, and how we handle conflict, and how we handle um, long-term commitments too. But either men like armor up or disappear. That's like our default, how we're programmed, right?
Mhm.
This is what I do. This is what I just, when we're in a conflict and we respond before we even think about it. Something I'm still dealing with. This is what I wrestle with. What I do is like just like a pause, I breathe, and I name. So like you take one breath before reacting. You name the emotion that you're feeling. Are you angry? Are you shameful? Are you fear? You have fear. And then like if you actually name it, you kind of like disarm it. It's like a separate entity, you know, and just like having that intentional curiosity, like, hey, help me understand where you're coming from, instead of you always, if you're having conflict with someone, using those, um, what are they called? You always do this, or you never do that. That's just a way to really like jump to radical conclusions. And instead of just being curious, like, help me understand what you mean, like, try to peel it back a little bit. And you'd be surprised if you ask that one question, and you peel it back, um you'll like you'll be able to just explore through it, like, and have a sense of understanding that will just really help that immediate situation. um every time I respond with presence and like curiosity instead of ego, I just gain strength. And earn respect from those around me. And this is also a big way to build influence, especially with those you love, not like gaining social media influence or followers, but like
Yeah,
having influence where it matters. Um,
absolutely.
because most men like either arm up or avoid. And so that's a couple ways that I help my people that I coach and work with handling conflict gracefully.
I mean, and Jocko goes over it, talking about taking a step back and observing everything. And honestly, when I started to apply that to my life, when I see somebody getting a little bit over emotional, or rather than try to meet that emotion and attack it or put it on the front, or become avoidant, just take a step back, take a breath, like you're saying, kind of absorb it. And I love the aspect that, dude, you as such a wholesome dude still have to remind yourself to go through it. We have to be able to give ourselves grace in a learning process. But if we can go back to just the simple basics. Honestly, breathing. Breathing techniques are phenomenal, dude. They're changing. And yeah, if you just take a deep breath, and kind of reassess, look at what's really going on. Like, why is this person passionate about whatever they're doing? What is going on in their head? Instead of, I just need to be heard. I need to get my point across. No, that's the ego consuming you, and being able to absorb and see the situation and try to get to a better understanding is always phenomenal.
Yeah, man.
Um, you have any actionable steps for us?
Yeah, I mean, like the biggest thing is just like you said, take a step back, and breathe, right? And specifically, like name the emotion. Um, so take a step back, breathe, and instead of reacting, just approach with intentional curiosity.
Mhm.
Um, that right there is literally self mastery. If you're able to do that, that's self mastery. Okay.
Absolutely.
The more you manage your inner world and you can master yourself, the better you handle the outer world,
Mhm.
right? Um, and so like um, I think that's I'll just leave it at that in terms of like what to do when you're in that situation because there's not a whole lot you could do until you're in that situation, but most of us want to either react aggressively and protect ourselves and armor up, or we want to avoid it, dismiss it, avoid it, run in the other direction, and just distract ourselves with something else.
Yeah.
But if you like remain in it, give yourself some grace, take a step back, breathe, and get curious and ask, well, help me understand what you mean, or why would you say this? Why would you say that? It's like it's crazy. Just that one question is going to give you so much insight that'll help guide that situation. And it'll probably diffuse the other person that you're communicating with as well um, into just a more meaningful and respectful conversation. So
That's beautiful. Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. So talking about breathing and everything like that, kind of leads into the next aspect of the value of consistency, practicing these things consistently. What are some of your viewpoints on the value of consistency?
yeah, I think people win in life and business when they do the same things, and they're consistent with them when it's boring, when it's uncomfortable, when it's not sexy, they're not distracted by other things, the shiny nickel. Um, that's when you develop mastery. That's when you get the most amount of traction. But there's a lot of things that kill consistency, especially with all of the different distractions that we face today.
Mhm.
Um, the number one thing that kills the consistency if we're trying to do something and we're staying consistent and we're not seeing the return on our time, emotionally, we're going to decide or try to convince ourselves, well, maybe I'm not taking the right step, so I'm going to try something else.
Oh,
And we'll just do a different direction. But overall, if you're trying to do big, great things and you have goals that are more ambitious than the average person, which if you're listening to this, clearly you're hungry to and you have a desire above and beyond the average person. So you probably have some kind of ambitious goal. Sticking to it right there is going to allow you to really get the most amount of traction, because where you are now and where you want to be is definitely not a straight line.
No.
Ups and downs and like crazy different all over the place.
Yeah.
And that's normal. And so, but the more you kind of just stay on path and keep that momentum going, um, that'll help you kind of remove the emotional decision of, man, I'm not feeling traction. Just getting emotional. We're emotional beings, so that kills consistency. Another thing is just like lack of clarity. If you don't have absolute clarity on who you are and what you want and how you add value to other people and to this world, it's going to be tough to stay consistent.
Absolutely.
So, dude, like gaining clarity, and I'll give you like an action step right now for people who are listening. You got to figure out what 3 words define the best version of yourself right now. Like the best version of who you want to be when you're performing at your best. Who are you? Like 3 words that you would be proud to have somebody describe you as.
Mhm.
Take those 3 words, whatever it is, loving, protector, provider, generous, respected, helpful, curious, like whatever 3 words define the best version of yourself. Take those 3 words, create a daily alarm in your phone right now. So it goes off every morning at 10 a.m. and it reminds you of the best version of yourself. And like that will give you the clarity to be like, is this how I'm showing up right now?
Yeah.
That helps. Maybe it might not give you clarity on like, what are my specific 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10 year goals? Because at the end of the day, you have to have those established, because if you don't, then like you're not gonna stay consistent and you're only gonna go in the wrong direction more. But the clarity that I'm talking about is clear of who you are and how you show up, right? Um, so yeah, I mean, like the I don't I don't need to feel like it, but I am this type of person,
Yeah.
you know. So, and there's so many distractions nowadays, but I think those who decide to stay consistent and persist, like get the highest return on their time invested. It is a long game. It's got to be a long commitment. Those who are most committed will follow through, and you got to believe in yourself, and you got to surround yourself with other people who also believe in you and support you. And that's really tough, especially if you have toxic family members or friends that like don't have the same ambitious goals as you,
Oh,
and it's
man.
not easy to navigate, man. Like,
Mm-mm.
you know, to lose some of those family members or friends, like to just take and like you still love them unconditionally, but you can't take their advice. Like you have to just keep moving forward. It's not easy, but it's normal for those who have ambitious goals and who want to be a high performer, you know?
I find it extremely, I guess, foundational to understand the value of you. I think we touched on it in episode one. You really brought up that, and to see that actionable step still occurring is exactly what it is. You have to really understand you before you start aiming anywhere. Yes, having our goals is absolutely essential, but sometimes when the water's muddy, you don't know. And so just going back to that foundational, okay, this is who I am, will help you reassess your goals, will help you look at where you're going. And knowing who you are will also, who do I deal with? Who do I listen to? Yeah. Uh being somebody that's breaking generational curses and all that good stuff, like I have to rely on other outsources besides the ones close to me a lot of times. And first and foremost, being able to look at my values. Okay, what are my values? What do I believe in at the end of the day? What is my heart? What is my mind? What does my soul believe in? And where's it going? helps, dude. It helps always having those 3 words, being able to establish yourself is essential. It's definitely a foundational stepping stone to get where you need to go, and then the consistency. Yeah, I was not a gym person, man. I was athletic. I liked being fit, but as far as the gym, hated it. Now, just one little exercise a day, one little exercise a day, one little, and it keeps compounding. The reason I wanted to build this gym life was to create the discipline so that I could be exceptional at school. I wanted to learn how to train my physical outside to be consistent so that when it came time to hitting books and came time to studying, I could be, more harnessed in and be able to say, okay, no, I need to consistently, I might not get this chemistry concept right away, but if I consistently read it and I consistently look at it and I consistently practice and I consistently show up, I'm going to get there. I don't know how long my educational journey is going to be at the end. Yeah, like you said, it's going to have twisty roads and everything like that. But if I consistently show up, I'll get there, man. That's what I tell everybody. I'm like, I'm going to graduate eventually. I'm going to get there eventually. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I'm going to show up and I'm not going to stop because this is something that I believe in. I have that end goal. This is where I want to get. And the goal and the steps along the way might change and the landscape might look a little different than I expected, but all I have to do is just show up. That's it. That's it for anything. You want to accomplish anything with starting a business, with getting back in shape, with eating right. It doesn't take having it all figured out today. Just take those small little steps consistently. Build away, you know?
Telling you the highest performers, bro, it's like literally proven at this point. Those who like wake up for like first thing in the morning, just crush through some kind of workout and physical exercise, like the rest of the day is just easier because you're getting uncomfortable the very first thing in the morning. And like just physiologically, all the things that happen are you're just going to have more energy throughout the day naturally. But just the psychological aspect of like the very first thing you do in the morning, you crushed through, you got uncomfortable, you pushed yourself. Like, obviously, that's just going to set you up for a much better day where it's like you're naturally going to get used to getting uncomfortable in situation. You're going to get comfortable being uncomfortable because you're doing that the very first thing in the morning, especially if you are consistent with it.
Yeah.
If you're and it's just like it's like 2 weeks of consistency. It doesn't take any more bandwidth to be consistent. It's a natural habit. It becomes habitual. And if you feel like crap if you don't do it. You know what I'm saying? And so I like that. Like I already know I'm going to be working out during this time on this day. This is exactly what I'm going to be doing because I've had so much consistency. And if I don't do it, I feel blah. But like it doesn't take me any more bandwidth or like, oh, I gotta go work out again. Like it's like my body like already is preparing. It's already naturally prepared. So it doesn't take any more bandwidth to like develop that habit because the habit's already there.
Yep. Yep. No, absolutely. The 3 practices that I've really instilled, it's like it's written. There's no exception, is um I will hop into a cold shower. Like, and I don't always do a straight cold shower the whole time. I treat myself. I let it warm up, but I get that initial cold shock. It helps train my mind to say, you know what, get over the hard part. And it helps with procrastination. It helps with, okay, this is something I don't like, but just do it. Just do it because it's going to get better eventually. Making my bed every morning. Like it was Admiral McCowan, I believe, that had a great speech talking about this the aspect of making your bed, how just overcoming that first task in the morning will set you up. If that's one consistent thing that you can always practice, and it just shows, all right, look, I did something successful. I completed a task, and it bleeds into the rest of your day. And then, yeah, working out. Now I can't. It's weird if I don't get a moment to go work out or do something. Like, I have to. Like, it's
I
part of
know.
my life now. And absolutely, there's a lot of research that shows it gives a natural antidepressant into your body, like just getting movement, any type of movement. You don't have to go lift 300 pounds to still get that dopamine hit. And it gives you a healthy after because you're not just making a joyful hit, you're having to work through it. And then when you're done, you feel successful because, okay, I got through it and now I feel good about myself. So
Yeah.
um, I guess that also kind of leans into how do you develop resiliency? Like how do you keep going through it when it's tough?
Dude, like, let's talk about like resilience. A lot of people think that like it's just like grit. You just gotta suck it up and do it. But it isn't really like about the amount of toughness you have. It's about recovery speed. And like um how do you really build that? Show up when it's inconvenient. Um and there's no better way to really build it than fail as quick as possible and then reload and get back up and get back in the game. Um and like I kind of mentioned before, like where you are now, where you want to be, it's definitely not a straight line. Like realizing that setbacks and challenges are part of the reps. It's like part of the process. So the quicker you're able to like, cool, fail, lesson learned, not going to do that again. You get up and you move forward. Um, and knowing that failure should like that word, you should kind of like remove it from your vocabulary because you either win or you learn. Either way,
Yeah.
like it's a win, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
so like, but like that failure has a negative connotation for most people because guess what? When we go through school, we plan on we're literally taken through this process. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear my freaking phone ringing, bro.
Dude, it happened to me the other day too.
My bad.
No, you're good.
System. Yeah, no. My work system was calling. But like we're planned and you can probably hopefully edit that out. But we're literally programmed to go through school and we get graded about how well we do. And F, if you get an F, that's a failure. You get a slap on the wrist, you get like, it's a bad thing. It's definitely not a good thing.
Yeah.
We're not taught how to be entrepreneurs. We're not taught how to, have that consistency and how to build resilience, but it's good to fail. That means you're stretching yourself. That means you're getting uncomfortable. That means you're doing things that most people probably aren't even willing to do. And failing is part of the process. And resilience is about like, how quick are you able to be like, just kind of like conceptualize, oh man, maybe taking like 5 minutes even to pop, man, I did this, blah, 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 like, kinda getting into it and saying, "Oh, I can't believe it." But then recovering from it, "Cool, this is my lesson learned." Like, I heard this story one time, like, one of the top coaches, he was like a girls' soccer coach, and it was like this practice that he had where he would literally openly every time the girls' game, every time they lost, he literally said, "All right, this is your 5 minutes." They got back on the bus. He's like, "This is your 5 minutes to pout, get pissed, like express your emotions about how much you can't stand that you lost, but then that's it. Once you're done with that and you move forward and we talk about what we learned from it and how we're going to kind of get back up and show up for our next game." And that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant,
Mm.
because some people are taught, like, you can't express that, but if you depress those emotions, that's why they call it depression.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, I thought that was brilliant. I read that, I was like, "Dude, oh my god." So, like, when I started having kids, like, I'm definitely going to be like, "Alright, express it, tell me how you feel. You have 5 minutes, then we move forward, we learn from it, and we get over it. We don't make that same mistake again."
Uh-huh.
Um,
I actually had a talk, just speaking about kids real quick. I had a talk
yeah,
with my son, and the reverse thing happen because sometimes kids will use tears to manipulate, like,
sorry.
and it's not necessarily their fault. Like, that's how they were brought in, like, I cry, I get food. I cry, I get my diaper changed. So like they're trying to unlearn that culture. And so I was having a disciplinary talk with my son, and he started trying to, I was like, hey, listen, I don't feel bad for that stuff. Like, I'm gonna let you cry. I'm gonna let you let it out. But right now, I need you to listen. And you're not gonna get out of this conversation by crying and letting it out right now. But you will have that time. So like, I need you to listen. I need you to absorb what was going on. And he did. Like, we had the conversation. Then I was like, all right, how do you feel now? And he was like, still a little sad. I was like, all right, cool, let it out, man. Like, he lets it all out, and then I give him a hug, like, comfort him. And then I was like, okay, but can you also repeat what I said to you? What were the 3 lessons that we learned right now? And and then he said it. And then every now and then I was like, can you repeat what you said? And he's like, well, why do you keep having me repeat it? I was like, because it's being instilled in you. This is a lesson that I want you to say, and I want you to say it from your chest. Breathe it in, believe it, and feel it, and let it out, because I want you to grow from this. And so, yeah, he did well, and he learned those lessons. So I was stoked for him.
It's amazing, man.
Oh man. Um, cool. Did you have any actionable steps for building resilience?
I think it goes back to like winning the morning, you know, um, like stacking some kind of morning routine that just primes your mind for facing adversity. Like the movement that you're saying, you don't have to go lift super heavy. You don't have to do these extreme workouts, just like the movement and the reflection and the breath work. And then when you're faced with these things, know that failure is part of the process, but how quick you can get back up and recover will build that, right, that resilience. Um, and reframing this adversity or the struggles or challenges as what is this adversity like making possible for me? Like, what is the opportunity? Life happens for you. It's not happening to you. And then like that one little frame is like just incredibly powerful when you're trying to build resilience because it's how quick you could get back up and recover from it and reflect on what you just went through to improve your future. And so reframing like this is happening for me, but why? Instead of man, this is happening to me, like victim mentality.
Yeah.
Um, so dude, do something hard every week. Like you mentioned, a cold shower, bro. Like if you don't have a cold plunge at home, taking a cold shower, it's like just as effective. And you don't have to power a cold plunge or submerge your body in a cold plunge for a few minutes. You could literally just take a cold shower. The minute you turn it on, jump in there, and you could even turn it on hot, but just jump in there the minute you turn it on, and then over the 20, 30 seconds it'll get cold. But I prefer is to keep it cold. And it just you'll be in and out quick. You'll kind of wash your body, do what you need to do. But yeah, and and the biggest thing you do, like, challenge yourself to do some kind of public speaking.
Ooh.
Like, figure out what opportunity you have to get uncomfortable and to public speak. Um, so, yeah, I mean, good. Like, honestly, pain becomes purpose the moment you decide to grow with it. Whenever you face pain and you get over it, that becomes purposeful, like, the moment you, like, grow through it. So, I'll kinda leave it at that.
I like having that, like, forcing yourself into uncomfortability. I was explaining also once again to my son, like, because he has to do speeches in school and everything like that. And um, I was telling him, I was like, Do you think I enjoy getting up on stage in front of a bunch of people and being the center of attention? He's like, "Yeah, you know, you do it so well." And I'm like, "Nope, hate it." Like, honestly, I got through performing because of this rush that it gives me. I was just talking to one of my other musician. We did an interview for the Panda podcast, and we were talking about exactly that concept. It's almost actually like a rush, and it's like we're basically addicted to that rush of like, I have to overcome this challenge. I don't care how many times I've performed. Whenever I'm about to get up on that stage, I go through this like little anxiety, you know, like, oh man, is everything said? Does my guitar sound good? Like, am I gonna forget my lyrics? Because I have forgotten my lyrics before, and like, you run through everything. Are they gonna like me? And then you power through it, and you get up on that stage, and you're met with just this overwhelming energy of like success just from overcoming that. And it's powerful, man. Like, yeah, I had to do a public speaking class, and yeah, learning all those techniques. And even though I feel that yeah, you know, I'm a good social butterfly and I can handle myself in a conversation. No, like taking it to that next level of finding where am I uncomfortable? Because I want to grow into a better version of myself. Like I want to be the best version of me, and having that humility and being humble and saying, you know, like, no, I don't have it all understood. I might be good at something, but like I could be better, you know, like. And I think that, yeah, absolutely, the resilience of getting through things is not just pure grit, you know, like, I think it also kind of goes back onto what we're saying, like consistency, you know, like sometimes it's just, okay, I don't know. I'm just going to stick to my habits, my patterns. As in, if you've built good habits and good patterns, like you're gonna build that resiliency. You're gonna build the consistency through that, you know. So, and I guess once again, it kind of leans into understanding and overcoming fear, like powering on onto things. What are some of the methods that you use when you feel fear? I guess.
Oh man. Let's talk about like there's different types of fear, and
Uh-huh.
we can kind of dive into those, but like where does fear hide? You know, and I like to talk about fear hiding like within indecision. Um because you're like, the longer you prolong it, you're not making a decision, then the more you're over you tend we tend to overthink.
Uh-huh.
Um where else does fear hide? In perfectionism.
Mm.
Um Most people think it has to be perfect before you get started, but man, when you're trying something new, when you're going after something big, perfectionism is going to kill you with fear. Um, Also, in like playing small, um, playing small is not where we want to be. Mediocrity is fine for a lot of people. Probably not those who are listening to this. They want to develop, they want to grow, they want to learn new things. But if you're playing small, there's going to be a lot of fear in that.
Yeah.
I think the biggest one is this: um, comparing yourself to others, or comparing yourself to where you think you should be right now.
Ah.
So comparing yourself to anything else than you yesterday, a week ago, a month ago, 6 months ago, a year ago, is unfair and unreasonable. Comparing yourself to anything else but yourself yesterday and in the past is unreasonable and unfair. So if you kind of like, I mean, this is costing you opportunities, fear in general, for whatever, wherever you get into a state of fear, it's costing you confidence, opportunities, literally your legacy. It's costing you your legacy, costing you your time, costing you anxiety and depression. Um, that's why, like, you probably heard in some form, like, comparison is the thief of joy, because it really is. I don't know if we ever talked about this book. One of my favorite books that I have read recently that I probably just need to read over again to really embed into my DNA is The Gap and the Gain.
Good book.
And it's all about how like the most successful people um who are actually happy and fulfilled, not the ones who are just have financial wealth and who have things and who are glorified, but the ones who are happy, fulfilled, have the right relationships, and who are high performers or high performers across the board, they separate themselves because they live in the gain, they don't live in the gap. The gap being like where I think I should be or where this person is. Me, I'm at chapter 10, comparing myself to someone who's at chapter 18. That's gap thinking, right? But if you kind of look back where you were in a last year at this time, that's thinking in the gain. Like, look how much I've gained. Look how much I've grown. So by far, this is resonating with you. You got to read the book, The Gap and the Gain by Dr. Darren Hardy and Dan Sullivan. I think they co-authored it. But that kind of goes into it. And like, there's a lot of fear. If you're comparing yourself to somewhere else, man, you're like, a lot of fear is like manifesting through that. But how do you really flip like the fear mindset to the overambitious or uh, persuasion or the precision mindset to just go after it and to overcome adversity. um again, you have to say, well, what is the cost of not doing this? I love asking that question with people who are trying to figure out whether they want to pay for coaching, whether they are trying to overcome their own fears, um, whether they are thinking about just investing in themselves in some other way. Like, what is the real cost of not doing anything right now today? Um, and that usually outweighs their fear. You know, the cost of not doing today is it's like essentially not growing and not growing through it. Um, and fear shrinks when I move toward it. Like, just literally growth and success like lives on the other side of whatever you're fearing. It's like that. I'll end it with like the acronym false evidence appearing real. Fear. It's false evidence
Yeah.
appearing real. It's something that was made up, that was created from some external source that's holding you back. But we naturally have this programming in our central nervous system to protect ourselves and our loved ones. And we want to be conservative. We want to restore them. We want to protect, right? And so we naturally have those inhibitions to not go for the big things and take big action and lean into it. So it's normal to have those thoughts, to second guess yourself and to have that imposter syndrome, but know that fear is literally just false evidence. There's no real evidence that backs up why you have this fear or if it's a legit cause or legit fear. Um, so man, fear, there's a lot to unpack with fear, but it's normal. Again, we all face it, especially if you're going after big deals or like big and you have big ambitious goals and you want to set up a legacy for your family. Like, you're gonna have fear. It's like we all have the same fears, but those who decide to face them and overcome them and work through them, despite those fears, are the ones who are going to win.
I believe it's really encouraging when you hear, especially successful people, say, "No, I still have fears. I just know how to deal with them." I mean, even in this moment of life, kind of going through some challenges and everything like that, and I look at it and I'm like, okay, am I handling? We were talking about distractions, right? Am I handling this in a way to distract myself from facing what's going on? Or am I just relying on consistency, training, and the responsibilities do I have? Am I trying to avoid things or still challenge myself, but I'm just busy minded, I guess. I'm like handling things and I've already built a schedule for myself, and I'm doing, and it's like looking at that, and if I find myself trying to avoid something, or then I'm like, oh man, yeah, the fear is overcoming that gap that you're talking about. I've definitely faced those moments of like, man, I should be somewhere better by now. Or now that I've had a huge career directional change, running my businesses and running and going from this successful point to starting in school, like, it feels like, man, like, yeah, like, this is something I should have done way back in the day, and those moments will start to kinda creep in every now and then I just look at it, I'm like, "No, I just this is part of what I have to do to get to where I want." That's all it is. Like, I I'm still doing better than I was, like you said, yesterday. I've still made a moment where, like, today I've done something that got me to a better point than I was yesterday. That's all that matters. Like, it doesn't matter where I've been, how many times I've restarted. It doesn't matter how many times I fall. It just matters on what I do and project today. Today is my next moment to become glorious, to become great at what I do. And I definitely know that when other people feel that, they don't feel like, oh man, but I feel like they can see the light, the light in those dark moments of being fearful. Yeah, fear comes in all shapes and form. You can literally be afraid of a bear charging at you, or just be fearful of yourself and your success. And some people even are, yeah, fearful of being great. Like, and so no, like, stick to going back to what we were saying, stick to your values. What do you believe in? What is you, and keep moving forward, like, and take one step at a time. If you can't breathe everything, like, just take one breath, one step, like,
So
um, so I guess rounding up, like, I guess building confidence and the importance of discipline, man.
building confidence. I kind of broke it down into this formula that I'm still working on, but I tried to simplify it for myself. Um, Reps, recovery, and reflection.
Okay.
That will give you more confidence. Like, um, I think regardless of what you're trying to build your confidence in, if especially if you're trying to learn a new thing, more reps is going to give you more competence. So that's naturally going to give you more confidence. You're going to have more understanding. And then like recovering, because when you're putting those reps in, if you're actually putting those reps in, you're going to have some failures.
Mhm.
And so like recovering from those, building resilience is going to help build your confidence. It's symbiotic.
Mhm.
But then reflection, and like reflecting on, what did you learn? Um, I love taking Friday mornings as like a clarity break. Um, Reflecting on just the week, like looking back on the week, looking at my schedule, like, well, how did I allocate and spend my time, and what did I learn from all these things? Just like I take like 15 minutes to do that before I get in, and do everything and get busy for the day. So, if you want to build more confidence in anything, get more reps in that thing, recover from failure quick from that thing, and reflect on that thing. Um, Men struggle, and just people struggle when they want to feel confident in something before they act.
Mm.
That's like backwards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, no one's judging you for going after it. They're just gonna respect you even though you don't know everything. Um, yeah, I mean, like, keeping so the biggest promises that you can keep, the most important promises that you keep are the ones I think that you keep, the promises that you make to yourself.
Mhm.
Um, if you commit to something and you say, "I'm gonna do this," and then and you don't do it, you're gonna like just if you lose respect for yourself, um, you're gonna convey that naturally to others. they will lose respect for you if you don't have the respect for yourself. Um, so, and like I said, you got to like challenge that self talk. Like we said, the highest performers and the happiest people, they naturally have those fears. They naturally have negative self talk. They naturally have imposter syndrome. Who the heck am I to try to go do this big deal or try to like impact all these people or try to make $1 million this month? Like, whatever it is, challenge that self talk. Instead of saying like, I'm not ready or who I am to do that, I'd be like, this is who I am in the process of becoming,
Yep.
you know? Um,
I see I
that,
see I see that, like, definitely you have to the self-talk, it could be defeating, or as soon as you feel like it's defeating, just, "No, this is who I am, I'm going after it." Like, like, I want to build that in myself, and I think what you were saying, you might not know everything, but people are still gonna respect you. If you communicate, "Hey, I don't know everything, but I'm ready and I'm here and I'm ambitious." That's how I got into locksmithing. I said, "Hey, I don't know a single thing about locksmithing, but I guarantee you I'll show up every single day and I'll do the best that I can and I'll learn." And dude, yeah, I became successful at it. And sales, same thing. I was just like, "All right, I need to learn how to do this." And I just showed up every day, coachable, ready to learn, and that ambition. They taught me how to be confident in my space of, yeah, you might not have your first sale, but if you lie to yourself and say, no, I've been selling my whole life. I'm good at what I do. That's how I landed my first sale. Being out there on the streets, I was like, all right, cool. And I was able to get it. Um, but yeah, I guess, like we pretty much covered everything. And you have any final thoughts that you want to give me?
yeah, man, like I think all these different topics, there's like kind of been a pattern, that strong individuals aren't just born, but they're forged in moments of like choice, adversity, and challenge, right? So you don't need to wait until you feel ready for something. Just start showing up as if you're already the person that you want to become.
Yeah.
Uh, and here's literally the action step I think that will sum up all of this stuff for everybody. Before you fall asleep at night, write down in a journal, in your notepad, in your phone, 3 wins for the day.
That's
Like, just every single day, just like, what are 3 things and 3 wins? And it's not like I closed the deal. I just, had a six-figure payday. No, like I'm talking about wins like I made that call and I struggled through it. That's a win. Or
yeah.
I you know, um, followed up with this person, even though I wasn't sure if they wanted to hear from me. That's a win. Or I made that post on social media, even though I was scared. That's a win. Like just 3 micro wins, huge dopamine hit. And you're going to start like recognizing. And once it becomes a pattern and a habit, it's just going to be like, oh my God, I'm doing a lot of great things. And you're going to start living in the gain instead of living in the gap.
I love that. It shows, the biggest thing, having gratitude, like, being grateful and like you said, not searching for just the big wins or the financial wins, but, like, dude, the small stuff, the stuff that you were fearful of, but you overcame.
Right.
Um, I mean, once again, gratitude, and just like I'm grateful for the time that we spent today, dude, and
Yeah. Of
did another awesome episode. Thank you for everything that you've
course,
might have
man.
said today, dude.
Yeah, if this resonates with anybody, just literally shoot me a text. We can get on a call. I'll help you any way I can. 847-910-9161. Um, and past and present service members and their families, if you are at all looking at real estate investing and you want us to run it up with a community of other service members and the families building wealth and changing their legacies, active duty passive income is where it's all happening. And you could download a free book. It's a best-selling book that we wrote. It's called Military House Hacking. And go to militaryhousehacking.com and you can download that free best-selling book and join the ranks of service members and the families. And if not, either way, I want to hear from you. Let Mike know what your wins are. Like DM him or post in the comments of this post, like, what are your wins for the day? And leave it at that, but go crush it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for the words of wisdom and encouragement. I know some people are going to get it just because of the conversation we had today. So I appreciate you, sir.
Brother.
All right, everyone else, take care. Thank you for joining us for another great episode. We'll see you on the next one. All right, late.